This video sucks because I have to admit to all of you and to NZXT that my conclusions based on the Hue Plus and my 2 dead editing rigs were completely wrong. So let's talk about what I thought was the cause, right? I took apart the Hue Plus after both of my rigs died, and I found that resistor that was kind of semi-dislodged. There was flux leaking from it. I assumed that was just a blown resistor, and I'd seen blown components on circuit boards before that looked pretty close. According to NZXT and their third-party source who examined the Hue Plus and the power supply itself, GamersNexus, I'm sure most of you have heard of them before, they objectively looked at the Hue Plus, determined that it actually worked perfectly fine when I sent it back to them. The power supply I sent ended up dying halfway through the test, but they had another one on hand and they replicated my exact same procedure. You guys are gonna, y'all are gonna grill me for what I'm about to tell you. So I didn't realize that I plugged in an incorrect peripheral cable. So the DQ1000, which was the deep cool power supply I was using when I was testing the Hue Plus with the 2 rigs, that is a semi-modular power supply, which means that the 24-pin and most of the time the EPS, this 8-pin CPU cable, were wired directly into the power supply. Everything else was modular, which means I had to plug in things in order to run them to the other components in the case, the graphics cards, all of the storage drives, and the Hue Plus. The Hue Plus was the only component in that rig that utilized Molex. So I had to plug in a separate cable into the power supply just to use Molex, which kind of sucks because, you know, it's like one cable, but it's really long and all you need it for is one single peripheral, but I had to use it if I wanted to use the Hue Plus. And the cable that I used was not the correct cable for the DQ1000. And GamersNexus did an excellent job at running through, they actually ran through both of the videos, and that's how they realized that I didn't use the correct cable. Actually, NZXT caught into that as well, I think before GamersNexus was ever involved. And they said, whoa, that cable you're using there isn't the correct cable because the DQ1000's cables are solid black sleeved cables and they're kind of stitched together. And this one here you're using is a, ketchup and mustard braided cable. So where did you get that from? And at first I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's the correct cable because the 24-pin and the 8-pin look just like that. So I just assumed that I don't know what I was doing. I assumed that was the correct cable for the power supply. Apparently it was not. And now I was hoping to run my own test to show you guys firsthand how to diagnose this problem correctly. Now that we do know what the issue is, a voltmeter or multimeter would have come in handy. But GamersNexus already took care of that. They have the article. They basically typed out an entire summary, ran through all the tests that I was hoping to go through anyway, so they already knocked all of that out. I trust them 100%. These are smart guys. They know what they're doing. So what happened was because I used the incorrect peripheral cable for that power supply, the leads, the wires coming out of that power supply from that 6-pin on the peripheral side, on the power supply side, those can be mismatched and crossed over if you use the incorrect cable. And the DQ1000 itself has a very bold, yellow sticker that says don't use incorrect cables because they can be braided incorrectly or, lined on one end to an incorrect header on the other side, and then you'll be giving power to the wrong pin, and that was the case with the Molex connector running into the Hue Plus. So the correct cable provided by Deepcool pairs the 5-pin on the bottom right and the common pin, the top left, to provide power to any connected 5-volt devices. The cable that Salazar Studio used, however, is the one in the bottom right. This cable is receiving 3.3 volts down on its 5-pin, so it's supposed to be receiving 5 volts. On that pin, it was only receiving 3.3. Already off to a bad start. And then on the common cable, that's picture ground, okay, that's ground. So that's where the current returns to the power supply. And that actually had 12 volts running through that. So picture it kind of like a scale. So you have 12 volts on one side and you only have 3.3 on another. So the difference there, 12 minus 3.3, you're going to have negative, what do they say? I don't know what the difference is. Negative 8.7 volts, I think is what they had. When they checked with their multimeter. Yeah, negative 8.7 volts. So what that means is the Hue Plus was receiving an incorrect voltage, and of course when you put together a PCB that's designed for 5 volts and then you run 8.7 volts in the opposite direction, things aren't gonna end well for you. They didn't end well for either of my editing rigs, and that's because I used the incorrect cable with the power supply. I didn't do it on purpose. I genuinely thought that cable was the correct cable for the DQ1000. It was not, and as a result, I fried 2 of my rigs. So I would like to apologize personally. I can't do it in person, but I would like to apologize via video to NZXT for misleading so many people into believing that the Hue Plus was the cause of the deaths of both of my editing rigs. It clearly was not, and I cannot say anything else other than I really screwed up and just overlooked something that should not have been overlooked. And I apologize to all of you as well, all of my viewers. I know those videos have 120, 130,000 views. And so a lot of people saw that, a lot of people shared that, and were scared at the fact that the Hue Plus could potentially kill their systems too. And I know that really cut into NZXT's sale of that unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and delete all 3 of those videos. So the first video where I'm like, what the heck's going on? The second video where I said, I think I know what it is. And the third video where I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what it is. All 3 of those videos are very misleading. So I'm going to go back and delete all 3 of them. There's nothing else that I can really do at this point. The videos that are shared and the things that are already talked about are kind of already out there. But I hope that you guys will at least accept this apology and do your best to tell other people who are worried about the Hue Plus to let them know about this. Let them know what I've said in this video. If you can, share it on forums, share it wherever you need to share it. Just tell people that the Hue Plus didn't kill 2 of my systems and that Salazar had no idea what he was talking about. He was just not paying attention. So that's basically what it comes down to. I just didn't pay attention to it. And NZXT was very cool about following through, filling me in on all the tests that were being run. I'd like to specifically thank Wesley for being so cool, being patient with me and not wanting to chop my head off, because I know that's probably what I made them feel like just by what I've been talking about in my videos. So that's it. That's what I want to say. I apologize. I was wrong. At least we know now what was actually causing the issue. So the power supply was just tripping out because incorrect voltages were being sent down incorrect wires, and it was tripping because it had no idea what to do with the voltage being supplied to that single peripheral. One last thing I would like to do is thank GamersNexus for following through on this for me and for NZXT and for the community. Thanks for clarifying this. Thanks for telling me that I was wrong. I appreciate that. Thanks for providing very solid facts. What was said in the article is what I'm telling you now. And I'm just glad that it's out there. Like I said, I'm going to delete the 3 videos, and just please share this video or share what I've talked about with anybody who has concerns about the Hue Plus. I am actually going to prove a point, I'm going to have another NZXT Hue in my system just to show you guys that it had nothing to do with that at all. So this is Salazar Studio. Thanks for watching, and thanks for watching the apology video. I hope I don't have to do many more of these. I will do my best from now on to make sure that I have all the facts before I make a conclusion like that again. Thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next video.